Good evening. My name is Pastor Kathy Kollar. I'm the pastor of Pleasant Valley Lutheran Church and St. Paul Lutheran Church in Lucas, and I'm trying to hold my head so that there's not a glare on my glasses. Good evening. We are in Genesis. We are reading chapters 9 and 10 this evening. Yesterday we read about Noah and the flood and the fact that they were in the ark for more than a year. The rain fell for 40 days, but the actual flood was a lot longer. And we also talked yesterday about the fact that Genesis appears to be woven between a person that's talking about Yahweh, W-H-Y-H, sometimes translated Jehovah, which traditionally a Jewish people would not say the name of the Lord out loud, and the priest. So the priest version says there were 7 of all of the righteous, the clean animals, so that Noah, when he came out of the boat, immediately was able to sacrifice to the Lord. That would be a priest who is always in favor of sacrificing. So today we're going to start on chapter 9 with the covenant with Noah. So this is the first of 3 big covenants that God makes between humans and God. God blessed Noah and his sons and said to them, "Be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth," which is the same thing, of course, that we heard at chapter 1 of Genesis when God said to the animals to be fruitful and multiply. "The fear and dread of you shall rest on every animal of the earth and on every bird of the air and on everything that creeps on the ground and all the fish of the sea. Into your hand they are delivered. Every moving thing that lives shall be food for you, and just as I gave you the green plants, I give you everything." So this is a change. At the beginning, while they first were created, God said you can have all of the vegetables and all of the grains. But now God is saying that I also give to you all of the animals to eat. Only you shall not eat flesh with its life, that is, its blood. So the belief in the Jewish system is that the life is in the blood, that is, and of course, if you lose too much blood, you do lose your life. So there's a lot of truth to that. The life is, in fact, in the blood. And so you may not eat the flesh with its life, that is, its blood. For your own lifeblood, I will surely require a reckoning. From every animal I will require it, and from human beings, each one for the blood of another, I will require a reckoning for human life. Verse 6, "Whoever sheds the blood of a human, by a human shall that person's blood be shed, for in his own image God made humankind." So God has instituted capital punishment for the shedding of human blood at this point. "And you, be fruitful and multiply, abound on the earth and multiply in it." Verse 8, "Then God said to Noah and to his sons with him, As for me, I am establishing my covenant with you and your descendants after you, and with every living creature that is with you, the birds, the domestic animals, and every animal of the earth with you, as many as came out of the ark. I establish my covenant with you, that never again shall all flesh be cut off by the waters of a flood." "And never again shall there be a flood to destroy the earth." God said, "This is the sign of the covenant that I will make between me and you, and every living creature that is with you for all future generations. I have set my bow in the clouds, and it shall be a sign of the covenant between me and the earth. When I bring clouds over the earth, and the bow is seen in the clouds, I will remember my covenant that is between me and you and every living creature of all flesh. And the water shall never again become a flood to destroy all flesh. When the bow is in the clouds, I will see it, and remember the everlasting covenant between God and every living creature of all flesh that is on the earth." God said to Noah, "This is the sign of the covenant that I have established between me and all flesh that is on the earth." So an interesting thing about that covenant is the word bow. I don't know, because it's a rainbow is what we see, the bow, and I always just think rainbow. But the word for bow is the same as for like a bow with bow and arrows. So it's the same word that is used for like armies that are fighting and they use bows to shoot each other. So God is saying, I'm going to hang up my bow. I'm not going to destroy the earth using a flood anymore. This is a covenant that I'm going to make between me and all of humankind, and I'm going to hang up my weapon. I'm going to hang up my bow. And it's the same word for bow as a bow and arrow. Verse 18, the sons of Noah who went out of the ark were Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Ham was the father of Canaan. These three were the sons of Noah, and from these the whole earth was peopled. Noah, a man of the soil, was the first to plant a vineyard. He drank some of the wine and became drunk, and he lay uncovered in his tent. And Ham, the father of Canaan, saw the nakedness of his father, and told his two brothers outside. So now, apparently it's not a problem to have gotten drunk, and it's not a problem to be naked in your own tent. The problem, apparently, was when Ham went and told his two brothers about it. Then Shem and Japheth took a garment, laid it on both of their shoulders, and walked backward, and covered the nakedness of their father. Their faces were turned away, and they did not see their father's nakedness. When Noah awoke from his wine and knew what his youngest son had done, he said, Cursed be Canaan. Lowest of the slaves shall he be to his brothers. He also said, Blessed by the Lord, my God, be Shem, and let Canaan be his slave. May God make space for Japheth, and let him live in the tents of Shem, and let Canaan be his slave. After the flood, Noah lived 350 years. All the days of Noah were 950 years, and he died. So one of the things that's interesting about this is these stories that are handed down. The Bible is made up of many documents and many voices. And so we already talked about there's kind of this priestly voice and this other voice that are kind of interwoven through Genesis. And the stories that survived and became the Bible are stories that are basically why the Israelites are better than the Canaanites in this particular case. And as we read through, we'll hear about some of the ancestors of other tribes and groups that were related, but not very close. So, and of course, related people, we always have sibling rivalry and all kinds of problems between families and clans. So chapter 10, the nations descended from Noah. These are the descendants of Noah's sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Children were born to them after the flood. The descendants of Japheth, Gomer, Magog, Madai, Javan, Tubal, Meshach, and Tyrus. The descendants of Gomer, Ashkenaz, Riphath, and Togarmah. The descendants of Javan, Elisha, Tarshish, Kittim, and Rodanim. From these the coastland peoples spread. These are the descendants of Japheth in their lands, with their own language, by their families, in their nations. So ancient peoples. And if I mispronounce them, I mispronounce them because they were 3,000 years or more ago, and nobody knows how they were pronounced anyway. But this is when reading through the Bible gets a little more, maybe not tedious, but just, okay, we're going to read it. We're going to read all of it. The descendants of Ham, Cush, Egypt, Put, and Canaan. The descendants of Cush, Seba, Havilah, Sabta, Raamah, and Sabteka. The descendants of Raamah, Sheba, and Dedan. Cush became the father of Nimrod. He was the first on the earth to become a mighty warrior. He was a mighty hunter before the Lord. Therefore it is said, like Nimrod, a mighty hunter before the Lord. And of course, if you're old enough, you remember Elmer Fudd talking about Nimrod, the mighty hunter. The beginning of his kingdom was Babel, Erech, and Akkad, all of them in the land of Shinar. From that land he went to Assyria and built Nineveh, Rehoboth-ir, Calah, and Resen between Nineveh and Calah, that is, the great city. Egypt became the father of Ludim, Ananim, Lehaban, Nephtuhim, Perusim, Kelusim, and Kephtorim, of which the Philistines come. So Where did the people that we fought against for so much, where did they come from? They were descendants not from the same people as the Israelites. Canaan became the father of Sidon, his firstborn, and Heth, and the Jebusites, the Amorites, and the Girgashites, the Hivites, the Arkites, the Sinites, the Arvadites, the Zemarites, and the Hamathites. Afterward, the families of the Canaanites spread abroad, and the territory of the Canaanites extended from Sidon in the direction of Gerar as far as Gaza, and the direction of Sodom, Gomorrah, Admah, Zeboim, and as far as Lasha. These are the descendants of Ham by their families, their languages, their lands, and their nations. To Shem also, the father of all children of Eber, the older brother of Japheth, children were born. The descendants of Shem, Elam, Asher, Arpachshad, Lud, and Aram. The descendants of Aram, Uz, Hul, Gether, and Mash. Arpachshad became the father of Shelah, and Shelah became the father of Eber. To Eber were born 2 sons. The name of one was Peleg, for in his days the earth was divided, and his brother's name was Joktan. Joktan became the father of Almodad. Yes, you can sit there and laugh at Pastor Kathy trying to get all these names correct. And I often tell people, just volunteer to read, because it's such an old thing. Nobody knows how to pronounce it anyway. Just do your best. But now you can sit there and laugh at me. Almodad, Sheleph, Hazarmaveth, Jira, Hadoram, Uzal, Dikla, Obal, Abimael, Sheba, Ophir, Havilah, and Jobab. It doesn't help that this study Bible that I've found and am using has interesting little marks and diacritical marks and accents and things like that. So just doing my best with it. All of these were the descendants of Joktan. The territory in which they lived extended from Mesha in the direction of Sephar in the hill country of the east. These are the descendants of Shem by their families, their languages, their lands, and their nations. These are the families of Noah's sons, according to their genealogies and their nations, and from these the nations spread abroad after the flood. So some of this reading through the Bible I think is going to be a little more challenging because lots of names, and I'm going to do my best to pronounce them. Many of them are not things that you hear all the time. And then there's always fun things like Nimrod, the mighty hunter. And of course, somehow the word Nimrod is just a funny name to us in English. And of course, as I mentioned, Elmer Fudd referred to Nimrod as well. Or maybe that was Daffy Duck that refers to Nimrod. So there are lots of some place where there's like one verse or part of a verse, and then entire things have been built out of them, which is always kind of a very fun thing about the Bible. So tomorrow we will read about the Tower of Babel and move on through a whole bunch more names. And then we will get into the meat of Genesis, which is the story of Abram and where the Israelites come from. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord look at you with favor and give you peace. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. I forgot to say, we have a brand new YouTube channel. It is up. It is running. So far, we have one of these uploaded, but my editor is telling me he will get some more uploaded. I have put the link in the description of this live video, so you can click on that, and apparently if I can get a bunch of subscribers, that would be a good thing. So like and subscribe the YouTube, but at any rate, thank you for being with me. Have a great night or a good day, depending on what time you're watching this. Bye.